I was fortunate enough a couple of years ago to get a Churchill Fellowship, which enabled me to travel to North Carolina and Virginia in the States to have a look at basically what they've been doing with working with farms, working with small farms to enable them to be sustainable and viable. And one of the biggest messages that came out of the trip was that in order to attain this level of sustainability and viability, it was so important to have networks. So not farms working in isolation. You work in isolation, you are really struggling. When you're actually working in a network, you have a lot greater chance of becoming a sustainable business. And I think the best statement I'd heard on it is, the more tangled the web, the stronger the organism. So which is really fantastic. Now, one of the things that I saw as part of the trip was a concept that they call the farm trails. And in the areas I visited, they would typically arrange a once-a-year farm trail to mark the beginning of the fall. So around about equinox time, around about the 20th of September. And this would be a weekend of farm tours, where it's been advertised throughout the year. Everybody knows that this weekend of farm tours is on. Many farms in the district would open up for that weekend, and hundreds of people would go and visit the farms. This had a really good effect on the businesses of the farms, in that it's coming up to the end of their production season. So in the areas I visited, really they're only in production from, say, April, May through till the end of October, beginning of November. So it's coming to the end of their season, so it's a chance to finish up the year, but to also then make connections for the next year of production and sales. And in many areas, the farm trail, the whole farm trail thing that they ran, was a very important part, not just for the farmers of the area, but for the whole community, because they're tying in things like visiting the local shops. It's a weekend, they're going to have to stay somewhere. And so there are lots and lots of possibilities brought in, and also the featuring of the food. So quite often, many of the farms would have a partnership with a chef or with a restaurant and offer a meal on the farm itself. Or if it's a fairly local restaurant, they would be collecting the food and then serving that at the restaurant that evening and relating it back to the farm. So the whole concept was, I was really fortunate. I went on about 3 of these while I was overseas, and every one of them absolutely blew me away. You'd have an opportunity of looking, and basically there might be 30 or 40 farms in an area that was listed, and you think, oh, I want to see every one of them, because they all sound really fantastic. And in reality, you only get to visit 3 or 4 a day, because you're spending a lot of time there. And so what that does is say, I want to go next time. I really want to go and visit those other farms next time. And it becomes we're talking with a lot of people who were doing the tours. It was on their annual calendar. They would arrange their family and friends. They'd leap in a car and they'd go out and do a farm tour, because that was their big weekend of doing it. So it's actually become a very, very strong culture within many of the communities that I spent time with. So it's basically, on behalf of the tour participants, on the visitors, what they would do is they would purchase a pass. Now typically it would be $30 for a carload of people. And you buy your pass beforehand or at the first farm that you visit, and you get a map of where you can go to. You plan out your map. You choose maybe 3 or 4 farms a day that you want to visit, and then you go and visit them. And it becomes a really big social outing with it as well. So the benefits to the communities, so not just to the farmers, so we'll get onto that in a minute, but the benefits to the communities is that it provides the visitors with an opportunity to enjoy a rural area and to raise awareness of that rural area. So where Gympie Regional Gold is doing a fantastic thing of going to Brisbane and going to various other things and really showing what we're doing, this is going to give the opportunity for those people to come here and actually see it happening and develop that much closer relationship with what we're doing here with the brand that Gympie Gold Regional Produce is putting out there so strongly. It raises the awareness of the importance of eating local farm fresh food, and more importantly supporting local farmers. they're engaging with what's going on with the farm and realising the importance of supporting the local farms. They've got names to things. So you're not part of a conglomerate of big farms. You've got a name, they can picture what's going on. So it's a much, much closer relationship. It assists local farms in their sustainability, their marketing and their publicity efforts. So this is often where we fall down as farmers. We're so busy growing that it's very, very hard to do that marketing side of it. I don't mean just going to the markets, but I mean putting yourself out there and promoting what you do and doing it well. And there are spin-offs to the other local businesses, as I mentioned previously. So you're going to go for the weekend, so you're going to go to accommodation, you're going to buy things anywhere else. As part of that farm trail network, you also want to include other places that you could visit. So we definitely want to have Dagon Growers Market on that, as well as a place to visit on that week, and the markets that are out at Kalula Cove and all that. So then we get down to, okay, what's in it for the farmer? And I think there were three main things that the main benefits that the farmers were getting from it. Was the first one is an opportunity to make lifelong customers by sharing your story and connecting personally with your visitors. So what that is you're bringing your farmers and your customers together, whether they're current customers. I mean, we do home deliveries to families down on the Sunshine Coast, and a frequent question we get asked is, can we come to your place? And I cringe, but it's only because it's very hard to sort of say, yes, please come, but you can't come on the weekends because I'm doing markets, and you can't come during the week because I'm planting. But if you're, but if you're actually gearing up for something where you're inviting them to come for the day, that is really strengthening that relationship, because they want to be able to put, and I think as mentioned, they want to be able to see where the foods come from and connect with that, and that will stay with them. So it's an ability, so that's the very strong one. That is the big thing, is that being able to create and maintain and develop a really good customer base. The second one is an ability to establish your brand by linking your products to the place that they're produced. And we see that really strongly here with Kalula berries. And so when you go to markets, and you've got your markets in Maryborough and so forth, visitors who've been here say, I know where that is, I know what it looks like. And so they'll actually hunt you out to find it, because they've got a connection. They've established that connection, and they'll maintain it. There's the direct marketing opportunity, and this is actually a fairly big one for the farm tour day, but needs a lot of work, is that there is a good opportunity on that day to sell product on that day, but also continuing. So as part of the process of being ready, being farm tour ready, is looking at what you can sell, what you can have that is going to encourage people to spend at your farm on that day. And it may be just product that's that you grow specifically. It might be aligned products. I mean, you've done a wonderful job here in having product that's available that really ties in with that. So they're the three main ones. So that is getting your customer base in, it's establishing your brand, and it's direct marketing opportunity. There's also part of that is a preparedness. So as I said, when our customers on the sunny coast ask to come and visit, I'm horrified, because I know the appearance of my farm. It's a working farm, and it's not safe for anybody to come to, basically. I wouldn't think it was. But if you've actually got it so that you're encouraging people to actually come and visit, you tend to step outside of your normal routine to look at what you can do to improve the appearance and the purposefulness of your farm, of what you're doing. You look at it from a completely different aspect. So it then helps you personally to have a better business view on what your farm is presenting. That doesn't, of course, cover for everybody, but I've really noticed it, particularly in small crop growers, where your main emphasis is actually on growing the vegetables. The other side of it really does fall by the wayside. And then the last very important thing is the networking. So there's no way you can do this by yourself. And I think being part of that farm trail is a really important part of that networking, because you're going to want to know what other farmers are doing, and you'll share ideas, and because it's going to boost up all of your businesses to be able to network. And we'd also think that there would be an opportunity to sort of get together, maybe having dinners or workshops or whatever in between the farm trails to sort of talk about how things are going, what things are going on, what ideas have people got, what tips have you got for making that tour successful. So just sort of seeing what works for other people and what's worked for you. And that networking, as I said earlier, is just so important to the sustainability and viability of a small farming business. So, just finishing up. So what we're doing is we're going, with the idea of a farm trail, is to provide consumers with opportunities to visit local farms, connect with farmers, and learn more about growing food sustainably. And in this way, we know that we can create an educated customer base that supports and advocates for locally owned and operated farms and businesses. So it's just going to establish our area and establish that Gympie Gold Regional brand.